Coaches in Colorado. So I just want to highlight this advocacy piece. There are so many great discussions happening here during this conference, and just wanted to mention that we're all listening as the consortium, and we'll take our notes back to our groups and to the state in our advocacy efforts, and we hope that you all do too. And I will give us just a moment to review our conference norms here again. Alrighty. Just a quick look so you know what's coming. In the session, we'll hear from a panel of early childhood professionals. There will be some space to ask some questions, and then we'll have some more breakout group time to connect with each other and brainstorm with other coaches on um, some actionable things that we can do to support resiliency. And we will hear from Elizabeth Fannin, the director at the Aspen Center for Child Development. We will hear from Renee Sassy, the education specialist at Early Connections Learning Centers, and Rhonda Benz, the executive director at We Love Preschool. So without further ado, I will jump in with Elizabeth. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can see you. Alrighty. Whenever you're ready, Elizabeth, you can make. We're hearing some stories from others in the field so that we can get some of our creative juices flowing and come together to make a list of what can we be doing. So just a few examples from some professionals in the field. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Rebecca. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Thanks for inviting me to join and share a little bit about my context, my experience. My name is Elizabeth Fannin. I'm the director of the Aspen Center for Child Development. We're a small Reggio-inspired nonprofit in Longmont, Colorado, connected to a bigger organization, family resource center called the Our Center. So a comprehensive resource center for our community members. And then the Aspen Center is a early childhood and care setting for children 6 weeks to 6 years old, running year-round, full-time for young children and their families, with infants, young toddlers, older toddlers, and then multi-age preschool. And I've been the director there for about 5.5 years. And so while I've been there for 5.5 years, I've been working in the field of early childhood and the education field for 29 years in public preschool settings, private preschool settings, nonprofit, Head Start, United Way, lab schools, and as well as online instructing for the University of Colorado, Denver, undergrad instructor for CSU, and then teaching, coaching, and consulting with different early childhood settings. But so all of that to say, I wanted to share a story about cultivating joy and resilience. And so often in our work, we think about how we support children, but how do we also support ourselves and our educators that we work with? What about the adults in the room specifically? And so my experience of working in a Reggio-inspired setting, or also known as a constructivist environment, really brought with me, I brought to the Aspen Center this lens of how a constructivist environment doesn't just shape children's learning, but it also transforms how teachers can experience their work and how it can be a powerful source for joy and also resilience. And so, I started right before COVID, which was an interesting time to start. I thought being a director at a new early childhood space with a team of educators who'd been there together for a long time would be my first challenge, but really it was COVID. Um, And when I stepped into the space, it was a very what I consider typical um, setting. Teachers were working in isolation. Lots of doors were closed. Some teachers would write their names on toys and materials so that nobody else would touch them. And if I ask questions, because I come from a place of inquiry, it was met with defensiveness. And so then COVID happened, and that was really a gift. And I used this idea of COVID as a gift because it offered us time, because we had to close the school, that I got to reframe and rethink how as adults we were going to build a culture of community and collaboration through a very difficult time where people's resilience was low. And so I started with weekly professional developments where everyone took leadership on something that they wanted to research and then bring back to the group. But we also started with a lot of reflection, like what are we doing and why, and what can we let go of? Um, and then having conversations with teachers about passions and interests and what called out to them and what they wanted to focus on. What we this big idea for me around cultivating joy brings in these core ideas of teachers as co-constructors of meaning. So teachers, educators, we're not just teachers. We are humans, and we have uh, um, passions and interests and joys. And so, if we can reframe our image of the educator as researcher, observer, collaborator, this could lead to more engagement, more meaning in teachers' work. And when I started talking with teachers about what brings you joy, what do you love to do outside of this building, they started to open up. They started to talk about, themselves as human beings, not just the keeper of knowledge or the deliverer of content, which is sometimes, I think, a trap that teachers can fall into or start to feel. Um, and so we started exploring how joy can come from curiosity and discovery and and sharing ourselves within our classroom context. Um, so we then started thinking more and more about our relationships with children, with families, and each other. This constructivist principle around close and respectful relationships that also create a web of support between each other. So opening the doors, getting into each other's classrooms, sharing passions, recognizing each other's strengths and interests. So, Susan really loves mixing paint and has an eye for color. She's kind of the paint expert. Let's go visit Susan and drawing on her expertise. Elizabeth is an expert when it comes to writing, beautiful language to share with families and communications. Let's go ask for her thoughts and inputs. And so drawing on each other's skill sets and passions really elevated this idea of collaboration and relationships and authentic ways of being with each other. So we saw more joy coming into classrooms, more smiles, more passion. And really, this helped create a sense of community rather than isolation. And what I've learned is that when teachers feel seen and heard and a part of a learning community, they're more likely to bounce back from challenges. Their resilience is built and strengthened and supported and scaffolded. Rebecca, how am I doing on time? Just checking.
Good. I tried to breeze through the first part, so we had a little bit of buffer space. So feel free
Okay.
to wrap up your thoughts in the next
Okay.
couple minutes. Mm.
Thank you. Um, I also wanted to focus a lot of my energy on creating space for creativity and professional agency, understanding that when an educator or a human, really, not just an educator, but teachers, when they're a part of that decision making and flexibility and creativity, um, that's also giving space for them to bring in joy, to cultivate joy for themselves, but also for children. Um, it also, I wanted to work on supporting and developing teachers' confidence and sense of purpose, that uh, they weren't just there to shepherd children around, but really to partner with children in learning and research and being a part of a community together rather than this keeper of knowledge. It's exhausting to have 16 4-year-olds asking all the wonderful questions that they ask and feel shouldering the responsibility if I have to answer all these questions. So when we were able to shift our image of the teacher to that of partner and nurturer and guide, that really shifted the way and the attitude in which teachers kind of approached their work, which brought a sense of um, relief and less burnout, and the ability to be creative with their practice. So, really giving room to follow children's questions around learning, but also teachers asking and being able to follow their own questions, giving permission to enjoy the work instead of like just getting through it. And I think another part of what was really important for us, cultivating this culture, was to embed reflection as a tool for growth. And coming into a new building for me, it was important to say, I'm going to ask a lot of questions, and it comes from a place of wanting to understand, not of critique, because as adults, we can sometimes have this perception of if I'm being asked why, I've done something wrong. So we've really worked on being comfortable with that idea of like asking each other questions about why and trying to understand. But also, taking time to pause and notice and celebrate small moments and um, reflective practice on like, tell me more about this. Tell me about your thinking with each other, but also with children. Um, and that we've really seen like that's where resilience and joy have kind of taken root. So for us at the Aspen Center, in our context, it's really joy is not considered a luxury. It's a vital part of how we teach and how we learn. And resilience doesn't we've learned that resilience doesn't come from doing more, but from being really deeply connected to our purpose, to our children, to each other, to our families, and connected to the children's learning and research too. So those things combined nurtures the children's growth, but it also nurtures ours. And then I just wanted to end with a quote from Rediscovering Joyfulness from NAEYC. Although joy is a developmental need and a vital necessity, the current emphasis in early childhood and elementary programs on assessment, accountability, and increased academic expectations can deprive some children and their teachers of the experience of joy. Addressing the vital need is essential for supporting the growth of positive, productive, and engaged learners. Developing a plan to return joyfulness to the classrooms and people's lives requires an understanding of the factors that support and nurture joy, as well as an awareness of what works against it. So, thank you so much for hearing a little bit about my experience. And I look forward to more conversation in our discussion group.
Amazing. Thank you, Elizabeth, so much. You had so many great examples. I was like jotting down notes mostly over here.
Thank
Um,
you.
I think we'll hear from all three panelists and then we'll open it up to questions or discussion more fully after we hear from all three panelists. Um, so Renee, do you want to share next?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. I'm Renee Sassy. I'm with Early Connections Learning Centers in Colorado Springs. We are a nonprofit and we've been around for 127 years, and we've always been working with children. And we have a long history of working and building partnerships with all sorts of community members. And so we have done some great things because we continue to partner outside of ourselves. And we actually work with family childcare homes as well. And so with that, I am a family childcare coach. I've done that for about 14 years. I started coaching family childcare homes in 2011, and really right before coaching was really a big thing. So there was a lot of learning on the ground, and then going through the cohort, the coaching credential cohort, I've learned so much. And part of those things that we've been working on over all of these years is how to do reflection and taking care of ourselves. Because if we don't do either one of those things, we are going to suffer burnout. And we need to be able to help encourage the teachers that we work with and that we coach in the same capacity to try to help them with their resilience and prevent the burnout. And so through those pieces of self-care and reflection, we can really make a big, powerful difference. We've got to make sure that we do it for ourselves, and we've got to make sure that we are encouraging it with the people that we are coaching partners with. So obviously we want to really focus on, your basic needs, your sleep, your food, your diet, your exercise. And you want to also look at who is filling your cup. We talked about that Dr. Gilliam talked about who is filling your cup. And we know every day those children are absorbing all of the water in our cups, and we've got to figure out ways to fill it. We can't always expect other people to be the ones filling it. So that's where that self-care comes in a bigger way than just your basic needs. You've got to really try to find just those simple, quick moments, because so many of us are so busy and we think, oh my gosh, we don't have time for self-care. I'm just as bad. I don't take the time to do the self-care that I need. Even, getting enough sleep is one of those things that I kind of push to the side because, oh, I've got so many things to do. So, of course, self-care is one of those things that also goes to the side. So that's where I've been learning to carve out just little tiny bits of time. Like all of us have a commute home. So we can take that time to either do reflection or, look on our day and see how it went and think about, could it have gone better? What could have I done differently? You want to ask yourselves those reflective questions as opposed to, oh, what a horrible day. If this had gone different, then that would have happened. And, that's not going to do any good. I even have some powerful questions, that I can share a little bit later that says, okay, how can we frame this so that when we do look back on our day, it's not the doom and gloom kind of reflection. So you need to look at that and figure out how to try to build those moments in. Sometimes I'm going to even go to the place of sometimes we do our best thinking when we're busy doing other things in the bathroom. And so maybe you can take your 5 minutes in your shower and you can, draw on your steam in your shower and just take a few minutes to think about it. Draw a picture, sing a song, find those happy moments of when you have time to yourself, because a lot of us need that alone time in order to do that self-care. And when you are doing that self-care, don't beat yourself up about whether or not it's taking time away from something else, because we've got to grant ourselves grace to be able to say, hey, it's okay. I didn't do XYZ. I didn't take a bath today, and that was my goal. Don't make your self-care and your reflection one of those pieces of it's another task to do because it's supposed to be rejuvenating you. It's supposed to be filling your bucket. And without filling our own buckets, it's just going to be empty and we won't have anything to give to those poor little babies that need their buckets filled every day. Because sometimes we all know we're the ones that fill that bucket. Otherwise, their bucket would be dry as well. Um, so with going on with that, let me check and see here. Other things that we can do for those extroverts who really need to have those other people around you, take that time, spend your time with your friends, spend it with your colleagues, getting to know them better, finding their joy, like Elizabeth was talking about. Build those connections because when you're with those like-minded people who are thinking and feeling and going through the same thing, it is okay. That's where that collaboration comes in, and you realize you're not alone in this struggle. Um, because that's another huge piece of resilience of, knowing you're not alone, being able to build your community and find out what's going on. Oh, I'm so over time, Rebecca. Um,
No problem at all. It's been
let me
fun to hear from you.
let me move on. I'm
But
so sorry. Real quick, 2 minutes. Um, Other things that you can try to do is reflective supervision, or just spending more time reflecting and see if your organization can find time or reflective supervisor consultants that can come in and help your whole organization with that reflection piece, because it too can definitely make an impact on your entire team. So yeah, I have a lot. Please, if you have any questions, let me know. I have a lot more on other stuff too. I apologize, Rebecca.
I
So
apologize so
yeah.
much for sharing. And yeah, we'll all collaborate with some idea building. So we'd love to hear some more of those ideas as we get there. Thanks so much, Renee. Rhonda, are you ready next?
I'm ready. Hello, my name is Rhonda Bentz. I am the executive director at We Love Preschool. We are a small part-time preschool in Greeley, Colorado, where we have just part-time students and preschool age, 3, 4, 5s, and some 6s, just for the school calendar year, and we are a nonprofit. We are very unique here because we are on a smaller scale, and I just have an amazing team that works with me. So I want to talk about how to build and support positive work culture. Preschool is a magical time for children and students as it lays the foundation for their social, emotional, and cognitive development. But as we all know, a thriving learning environment is supported by a cohesive and positive team culture among the educators in your building. When we cultivate a strong team spirit, we create a nurturing atmosphere where both teachers and students can thrive. So, how do we go about building that culture? First and foremost is communication amongst each other, opening and having an honest dialogue amongst each other because we are all different and we all have great ideas, and encouraging those regular meetings where everyone feels comfortable in sharing maybe their thoughts, their ideas, their struggles and challenges, because we all have those from time to time. Bouncing those ideas off each other, like this worked for me, but it didn't work for the other teacher. How can we go about changing that? And then celebrating those successes. As we all know, children, they make you laugh, but they also make you pull your hair out at times. So working together as a team for that helps that aspect. This only strengthens our relationships with that creates our ownership and responsibility with our team. I like doing team bonding activities with my teachers, whether that be we go out to lunch or we go out on an in-service day that we go and volunteer at a local food bank and do those special functions together, monthly staff meetings. And I also like to do a bi-weekly check-in with the teams within the classroom to see what their needs are and how I can help. Another essential aspect of a strong team is fostering and supporting environment by celebrating our diversity within our staff, recognizing what each team member brings to the table with our unique strengths, embracing different things that creates more responsive and care to our team. I like to give my teachers where they get to plan their continuing education each year. Not that just me telling them what to do, because they all have different ideas of how they want to go about doing that. And so we get together at the beginning of the school year to see how they want to do that, either it be online, a college class, or a lot of times I have trainers come into our school, but then we also go to local and state conferences. It seems to recharge the teachers' batteries when we do that. And it's also to hear all the different aspects. Like we could go to the same type of workshop, but I got something out of it different than the other teacher did. Additionally, let's not underestimate the power of gratitude and recognition. A simple thank you or acknowledgement of, wow, that idea that you came up with was really great. The students seem to be really engaged. All of that goes a long way with your teachers. Recognizing them for their efforts not only boosts the morale, but it reinforces our mutual commitment to the children. As educators, when you show appreciation to your teammates, we model kindness and respect, and we instill those same values then within our students. I make sure that I'm always saying thank you to my staff, as well as doing the little things from time to time. Coming into the classroom to see if they need to take a small break, or just taking a group of students and reading a story to them. Maybe buying them their favorite drink for the day because maybe they've had a hard time, or bringing in their favorite candy so that they can just recharge themselves. Lastly, we must prioritize our well-being, kind of like Renee was saying in her session that she had said, we have to think about ourselves and fostering that culture of self-care. Encouraging our team members to share their challenges, creating a healthy outlet for stress, and when we take care of ourselves. So here at my preschool, we tap into what the state gives us. So we have a mental health consultant that comes into the preschool every week for every class, every session. She also then meets with the teachers 2 to 3 times throughout the school year on a one-on-one, where the teachers can talk about anything that they'd like to, and that stays just between the two of them. That seems to help out a whole lot when we do that. In conclusion, that building a strong culture in a preschool setting is not just beneficial as educators. It directly impacts the quality of the learning experience we provide for our children. Through open communication, sharing the values and gratitude of self-care, we can create an environment that empowers everybody and remember to work as a team. I grew up in a church setting, and so the golden rule, I like to treat my teachers the way like I like to be treated. But also what we focus here at the preschool is being kind, working together as a team, having fun, then you're loving what you're doing. And so I really try to instill that with everybody, teachers, staff, and the parents. Thank you very much. I talked really fast because I'm really comfortable with talking in front of children. And so when you talk in front of your peers, I know I talk really fast, but thank you so very much.
Thank you, Rhonda. That was lovely. I wish I had been, maybe someone had AI working for us here and has a whole list of all these beautiful ideas you all had just shared. I would love if we could take a moment to just reflect on what we just heard, and then if you have any questions or would like to clarify anything with Elizabeth, Renee, and Rhonda, now would be a great time to share any other thoughts or questions that you have now. Share my screen again. As we go into our breakout groups, I want us to think a little bit more about what we just heard. We had so many wonderful examples of how intentional communication, joy, reflective supervision, self-care, creating space for rest and belonging. All of these things can help support resilience in our programs. And my hope is that we can all walk away from this discussion with something that we'd like to put into action. So I have another note catcher for us. And I'm hoping that we can all jot down some ideas here. Oops. Hey, Janet, are you able to put that in the chat for us? Oh, I'll stop sharing my screen and then I can do it. Too many screens.
I
Where's
need
that?
to see the screen in order to put it in the chat. Rebecca, I don't have it. Sorry.
I've got it in there. I just put it in the chat. So if you wouldn't mind opening, and um, we'll go into breakout groups. We have some reflection questions that I'll also put in the chat. And then I'd love for us to come up with a list of the things we heard, some new ideas. What are some ways that we can help build resilience in our programs and in our community?
And how much time for this, Rebecca?
Let's take about 20 minutes. Let's come back at 53 and then we'll just do a quick share out before we head out.
All right. Can you put that in the chat for them? They need it before they go there.
Yes, I just put the Google Doc in the chat if you want to open that, and then I'll put some discussion of the discussion topics are in there, but I'll put those in the chat as well.
Great. There we go. All right. Enjoy.
Thanks, everyone.
I think I accidentally bumped myself out of my breakout room.
Is that Melissa? All right. Let me.
Yes.
There you go. All right. Move to 2, 3.
Thank you.
And then Rhonda, you're going to head into 1. Did you get it? Moved.
I did not get.
Okay. You're going to move to 4. There, you should get it.
I did it again. I literally just pressed the X that was like, you're in this new thing. You're in a breakout room, and I pressed X to get it out so I could see people, and it bumped me out again. I will pay better attention.
That's
And,
okay. I'm going to move you to
and hopefully you don't see me again until 53.
not a problem. Let's try that.
Okay. Third time's the charm.
Elizabeth. All right, they have 33 seconds and they'll be back. You had so much in your presentation, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for the joy. The joy is such a critical piece. We want children to grow up and be joyful, yet we have no models of joy to offer them. It's like, isn't that more important than curriculum? Yeah. So thank you. All right. Everybody's back.
Alrighty. So many ideas buzzing around in my head. And I see so many great notes on the shared note taker. Thanks everyone for utilizing that. It is still available, so feel free to add things to it, pull things from it. My hope was that we would find something practical. I'd love if maybe we could each jot down in the chat one thing you'd like to try or bring back to your work, whether that's a practice or an action or just an idea. What's something that's sticking with you that you would like to bring with you? And if anyone would like to voice theirs, that'd be great as well. But it'd be great if everyone could put something in the chat. What are you taking with you? I see find the joy in a trial and error approach, focusing on joy more consistently, finding joy in each day, find what brings teachers you work with joy and intentionally bring that into practice. Continue to support reflective supervision efforts, finding things to let go of to feel brighter. Mental health is part of self-care. Being purposeful and intentional. Finding ways for my teachers I'm working with to learn skills and teach to their team, and that they have leadership and ownership. Rachel, do you mind saying a little bit more about that one? And Rachel and I were in a breakout group, and I loved hearing you talk about that one.
We work with apprenticeships. So I have apprentices all over the state, but they're training for all sorts of things. And so I would love them to start really learning how to share skills with their own teams. But I really enjoyed learning how Elizabeth had her team learning skills so that they were able to take ownership and have pride in what they were really learning and being able to share skills within their team and really being able to take leadership roles without necessarily being a leader in the school or having to be in admin, being told what to do, something like that. Just being able to find ways to share with their team and kind of collaborating with others. I just really thought that was a great way to be part of the school and coming together.
Maybe we can hear one more thing that came up in discussion that is sticking with someone. We're all well trained in the pregnant pause.
I was going to share that there are times burnout bring us to a place uh of solitude where we forget the why, the basic reason why we are in this field. I think it's okay to feel that way, but don't ever forget why you are part of this field, why you are part of teachers' life, why you are create purpose in their lives. And whenever the burnout comes, just go back to the basic and say, why did I choose the field in the first place? And it will always give us a source of strength and a source of reminder that, hey, I can be motivated of the reason why I'm part of this field. Hopefully that makes sense for everyone.
Yeah, thanks so much, Alicia. Um, Perfect. Well, thank you all so much for all your thought partnership. Thank you to our presenters for leading us through so many great ideas. We put the feedback form in the chat. If you could please provide us some feedback, and that's how you'll get your credit for being here as well. Anything else, Janet or
You're good.
Cameron?
All good. Thank you all.
Thank you. We have one more day tomorrow. See you all then. Get some rest. Everyone go outside, go for a walk. See you all.
Thank you.